Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's The Untouchables, brought to us by Ocean. The Untouchables is based on the 1987 crime drama starring Sean Connery, Kevin Costner, and Robert De Niro. The movie was nominated for a few Academy Awards, including Best Supporting Actor, which Sean Connery won. The movie and game take place in the Prohibition era of America, and really centers around the mob boss Al Capone against the police. The game, I must admit, is really quite weird. You have your main title screen, and you'll be seeing it actually quite a lot throughout the game. Every time you complete a stage, you'll actually be brought back to the title screen, and then have to press start again, and it'll take you to the next level. It's something I've actually never seen before in a video game. The gameplay, however, is broken up into several different types, so the game really doesn't get boring. It can be a little bit difficult, especially as you make it to the later levels, though. So here we go with The Untouchables for the NES. There is no story or anything before you get driven in right to the first stage. In the first level, you're fighting some gangsters on the street. You accomplish this by hiding behind a wall, then popping out and shooting them. You only get 2 shots before you then have to pull back behind the wall and end up reloading. The first street only has 3, and then the second street you'll have to take out 5. This is rather simple to do, and the enemies won't do too much damage to you, even when you're standing out in the open waiting for them to shoot you. The third and final street for stage 1 has 8 criminals for you to shoot. Once again, just pop out behind the corner and take out a couple of them, then go back and reload. We'll have to do this again later on, and it's definitely a lot tougher the second time around, but you'll actually have more than one character to use that time too. After completing each stage, you'll see a newspaper with a little bit of a headline that has to do with the level you just completed. You then go back to the start menu, and when you press start this time, you're taken to the next level. Level 2 is completely different. Your goal here is to collect evidence. Each of the pieces of evidence you pick up gives you 20%, so you have to take out 5 enemies in order to get 100. There's 2 types of enemies though. The gray ones that actually drop the evidence, and then the yellow ones that are just there to annoy you and try to take you out. You also have very limited ammo, so don't take out enemies unless you absolutely have to. I'm showing you the entire level by traveling up here and walking through. However, there's a real easy way to complete the stage, and I'll show you in just a second. Thankfully, sometimes the yellow guys will actually drop some ammo so you can replenish at least a little bit of it. After making it all the way over to the left here, you've seen the whole stage. However, the best place to actually collect the evidence is on the first floor. Head over to the right, in which case we got another one of the evidence guys right there, the guys in the gray hats. Head over to this shutter and then stand on the top of the boxes. Enemies will continue to spawn on the left and right sides. Take out all the enemies that appear, and after a few of them, another one of the gray hat guys will appear, allowing you to get more evidence. Once you pick up the last piece of evidence, the level will end and you get another newspaper clipping. The border raid is scene number 3. You have to shoot the bottles in order to get evidence from this one. However, there's a ton of different enemies trying to take you out here. Keep rolling back and forth until you're able to see a bottle on screen, then shoot it. Once you take out one bottle, another bottle will appear somewhere else on the screen. It may be right near you, or it may be on the complete opposite end of the map. The good thing about this level is, though, you have 4 characters at your disposal, so if one of your characters gets taken out, you'll have another one in reserve to switch to. Level number 3 is easily the hardest level we've had to deal with so far. There's a lot of enemies shooting you and they drain your health really quickly. Anytime you get low on health, be sure to switch out your character so you get a full health bar back again. The good thing is, though, when you switch out characters, the one that was currently out and getting hurt will actually replenish his health while you're playing as one of the other ones. It may seem quite boring just rolling back and forth, but that's pretty much all there is to this stage. Thankfully, though, there is unlimited ammo, so don't worry about running out here. There's also a time limit which you have to worry about in the lower left corner, but usually I have plenty of time in order to roll back and forth enough to collect enough bottles of evidence. Even as the level continues, it doesn't get any harder, it just takes more and more time for you to locate each of the bottles. And sometimes it can get quite annoying with them being gray as well as the background being gray, because sometimes they can seem to blend in. Using your other characters wisely, you shouldn't have any problem being able to complete the stage without even losing one of your characters completely. After about 1 billion enemies have been shot, and you've collected enough of the booze for 100% evidence, we can move on to the next stage. Stage number 4 is another shootout in the alley, similar to stage number 1. You once again start off with only 3 enemies. However, you have a very limited amount of time that you'll get in order to actually complete the area. The faster you do it, though, the more bonus time you get for the next area. The good thing is, though, you have multiple characters just like the previous level, so you can switch in and out when you need to as the levels progress. And you're going to need to switch out the characters because there's a total of 8 different alleys, and each one has more enemies to deal with. Just like before, your other characters that you switch out will regain health while you're using other characters. While this one is definitely tougher than the first one we dealt with in the alley, since the time limit is really more of the issue than the actual enemies, as long as you keep switching out, you shouldn't have any problem keeping your health up. And it can be really hard and annoying to try to dodge the enemy fire, since when there's 2 or 3 of them out of the windows at once, they're pretty much going to hit you no matter what, at least a few times. Thankfully, by completing the other alleys really quickly, I now have enough time where I can pretty much take my time when it comes to taking out these enemies, aiming up my shots a little bit better. While there's a lot more enemies during this alley, since it's only ones on the first floor and not having to deal with any of the second floor windows here, this one's definitely pretty easy. Alley number 7 is the last one we have to deal with the normal enemies. We have windows on the first and second floor and a giant door to deal with as well, but that just gives you an easier target to hit in my opinion. The final alleyway has only one enemy to deal with, but he's the boss, and you have to hit him multiple times in order to take him out. Just come out and shoot him both times that he gets close. It doesn't really even matter if he shoots you, because we should have plenty of the other characters with a lot of health left. So just have your pointer right in the middle, and just keep firing every time he comes out. He'll do a little bit of damage, reload, and repeat. It takes a good amount of shots, so once you take him out, we can move on to the next level. Stage number 5 is my least favorite stage in the game, where we have to guide and defend a baby carriage. As you can see, this can be rather tough and annoying, as the baby carriage will continue moving, and your job is to push it down the stairs without running into any of the walls or any of the enemies. The baby can also get shot at, which you would think one shot would be enough to kill the baby, but it can take a good amount of shots before it drops. The thing about it is you have to keep the baby carriage moving along from the left and right sides so you don't run into any walls or railings. Thankfully, it's the same pattern every time you play the level, so after a few times you'll start to get the pattern down and be able to get farther and farther with each try. If you're not absolutely perfect when it comes to guiding this carriage, it'll end up just barely tipping into one of the walls head on, and the baby flips over, and that's the end of the level. You have to start over again. It's definitely harder to maintain the speed and the movement of the carriage than it is to actually take out the enemies. But if you're not too careful, enough of the gunfire will start to drain the baby's health. The worst is areas like this, where unless you played the stage before, you have no idea which path is going to lead to a dead end and a loss of life, or which ones are going to take you to the next area. After guiding the baby carriage for what seems like forever, you can move on to the next level. Now the next stage, all you have to do is shoot a guy who's holding a hostage, which is really easy, but you only get one shot at it or else you have to start over again. So, to do this, you actually have a practice round, and I recommend doing that one first, as I'll do this because it's so short, I'll show it twice. All you'd have to do is move your gun up and down, and just when you get the shot in, take it and take out the guy. So here we go with actually doing it for real this time. Aim the shot, take him out, and move on to the next level. The next stage is actually the final level of the game. The final stage can be a little bit tricky because you have very limited ammo, but it's just like the alley levels. Instead though, you're actually pushing this guy back every time you shoot him to get him closer and closer to the edge of the roof. Just wait for him to pop out, and then take your shot when you have the exact right timing. Once you knock him over though, that's the end of the game. And that's the end. All you get is a one-screen little thing showing Capone in jail, and you get the credits and all that scroll across the very bottom. After it scrolls through once, it then starts repeating the data so you can see it again, or just press start to go back to the main menu. But with that, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.